Welcome to this EMSWeb training session. In this session, we're going to be talking about how to complete checklists while offline. So this is applicable to assigned checklists through the Audit and Inspection tab. The idea here is that we want to be able to complete checklists while being away from EMSWeb. So this function allows you to pick the checklist that you want to fill out, export it to Excel, and then you can take it with you on a device like an iPad, take it out into the field where you do not have web access, fill out the checklists in Excel while you're out in the field, and then you can come back to the office or to any place where you have online access to EMSWeb, and then upload those completed checklists to EMSWeb. And then it would be just as if you had entered it in manually through EMSWeb. So the functionality and demonstration that we're going to do today, there is written guidance for this, and it's located under the EMSWeb Sitemap and Guidance link, which is located on the right-hand side of most EMSWeb pages. And then just scroll down under the Audit section and look for the Offline Checklist Guidance hyperlink. And using that will download a Word document with this guidance. So if we go to the assigned checklists under Audit Inspections, this shows you all of the open checklists that have not yet been finalized for that installation. And so the idea is that you can check using the check boxes, the open assigned checklists that you want to complete offline. So suppose I mark the ones for this Training Hazardous Waste 2019 inspection. So I'm going to mark 8 of them. So you can mark however many that you want. They can belong to different inspections. And then I'm going to click on Export Selected. And so what the system is going to do is then export all of those onto a Excel spreadsheet, and then you can save it to your desktop. So I'm going to save it, label it as training, and save. Okay. Now I'm going to go to that folder. Here's that file, and I'm going to open it up. So the idea is then you could, now that it's on your computer, you can copy it over, email it around, you can save it onto an iPad, which you can now purchase through NMCI. And you can take it out with you into the field. And so when you open up this Excel spreadsheet in the field, you'll see that the 8 checklists that I had selected are now all on separate spreadsheets or separate worksheets within the single Excel spreadsheet. There's also an index worksheet that lists all of the checklists along with the equipment name and the due date. And so then you can just go to the link for the one that you want to fill out. So I can go to this checklist, and it pretty much looks exactly like the one that you fill out online in EMSWeb. So you can fill out all of the fields, building 135, additional comments if you want to. When you click on the condition checkbox, then you have the same values, compliant, non-compliant, NA, as you would if you filled it out in the field. If you put in information into any other fields other than these pink ones, like I put in some information there, then it's just ignored by the EMSWeb system when you upload it. One feature that the spreadsheet does not have is being able to say that all of the questions are compliant, but because this is Excel, you can copy a field, Control-C, select the first field, hold down Shift, and select the last field, and then hit Control-V to paste. And then that will copy that value all the way to all the other ones. And so that does the same feature as on EMSWeb. And then you can still change values as desired. You can fill out comments just like in EMSWeb. And over here, we have the citation code along with the additional reference material that came from List Builder. Up here at the top, you have a field called Finalize and Submit Checklist. This serves as the same function as the Finalize and Submit button on the checklist when you're filling it out in EMSWeb. So you have the option of saying no, and if you do that, it will, when you re-import it into EMSWeb, it will be saved as a draft. And then you would, the inspector would still be able to go in and then alter any values and finalize and submit while in EMSWeb. Or you can change this to yes, and then this will become finalized and submitted when it is imported into EMSWeb, and it will be treated as a historical checklist within EMSWeb. You do not have to fill out all of the checklists at one time in this Excel spreadsheet. For example, I filled out the information on this first tab. So that was for the April 5th anti-syncing device number 1. And suppose, if that's all I did for that day, I'm going to save it and close that file. And then I'm just going to re-import it. So I go right back to the assigned checklists under Audit Inspections, and now I just click on the Import button. The Excel spreadsheet knows what checklists to update. So you don't have to specify what checklists are being updated at all. The system pretty much knows what it's doing just by the Excel spreadsheet file itself. So for some reason, it's taking a while to get to this page. So here we go. So it says import checklist from Excel. It gives you some verbiage. So if you're not familiar with it, it gives you instructions. So you want to select the file. And so you just navigate to your computer where it was located, select that spreadsheet, and open it up. And so here it is. And then if you try to upload any other spreadsheet other than one that had been exported from EMSWeb, then it'll just throw an error and say you've imported the wrong document. So it successfully imported that checklist, and then it shows you the results of what it did. So it's able to import information from all of the 8 worksheets. One of them was submitted and finalized. Okay, I didn't have any information on the other ones, so even though it was imported successfully, there was no information that was overwritten. So now if I go back to that checklist, and I can just click on it right on this page, you can see that here are all of the values for what I specified in the spreadsheet, and you can see that it's been finalized and with all of the information present. Now what I can do is I can go to that spreadsheet and I can fill out additional worksheets on the other ones and re-import it into EMSWeb again. And what EMSWeb will do is ignore any of the spreadsheets that have already been finalized, and it will only make updates to the open checklists. So there's no fear of overwriting any historical information. So that way you can reuse the same Excel spreadsheet until all of the checklists on that spreadsheet are completed. So it's a pretty simple process, and if you make an error, then EMSWeb will just refuse to import the information, and it will tell you why. So that, also note that these checklists can be emailed around. So this is one way of assigning a checklist to someone who does not have access to EMSWeb, but you want them to fill out the checklist. So then you can just create that assigned checklist in EMSWeb, export it to Excel, email it to the person that's supposed to fill it out, have them fill it out, email it back to you, and then you can just upload it back into EMSWeb. And so if you're doing things that way, you may be sending out a lot of spreadsheets and getting a lot of spreadsheets back. And so when you import these exported spreadsheets, do note that you can import more than one at once. So if you have 5 of these exported checklist spreadsheets, you can zip them all up into a single file and import that single zip file. And then EMSWeb will automatically unzip it, process each one of those individual checklists, and display the results. And it will be as if you had uploaded them one at a time.